Because we all did the same thing. I did that with one of my first companies. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just build the product and all of that other stuff and then put it together because I already knew that it was a good idea. Well, great, but you had to construct a business. You have to construct whatever. You don't have to go way too down the rabbit hole as far as, the minutia of things, but you at least have to have some sort of structure. You at least have to have some sort of plan going into it. And I tried writing a business plan my first couple of go-rounds. And then I was sitting down with one of my mentors who is a business owner and a VC and all of this other stuff now. But he graduated from Norwich and was an officer in the Marine Corps. And great guy, wealth of knowledge. We went walking out of a business meeting one time. He's like, "You're a sergeant, weren't you?" It's like, "Yeah." "Well, why don't you just write an op order?" And that was honestly the light bulb moment where it's like, oh, yeah. Like, oh, what? Don't waste all of your training. Just take everything from where you came from and then apply that forward. But it's interesting because 5P is a standardized thing. I mean, you're a major in the U.S. Army. I was a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. But we have the ability to work off that same platform, and so are organizations together. We have two totally different MOSs. Totally different. What was your primary MOS?
I was a 42 hotel, which is a senior human resources officer, or as you like to call it, a pogue.
Word. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for the pogue part of it. Because meanwhile, it's like my grunt brain glazed over, and I was like, whatever. She said pogue.
That's okay. I tell you what's funny. I think the term business plan just scares people. It's like if you go buy business plan software, it's like, oh my God, it's the most overwhelming and it's scary. But, most op orders, in the field, even though I wasn't, combat or combat arms or combat service support, you still have to know it. And you also say, like you were talking about, you're in the middle of a fight and you need to adjust. You write a hasty, op order. So it doesn't have to be, 10, 12 pages long like the software. It's like it can be, 1 to 2 pages long and have everything succinctly, that you need. Did I use that word right? Succinctly.
You did.
Yay!
Oh, and that's actually, I got to get you. You did. It was clear, concise, succinct, right? But that's she hooed me. Oh my God, our first tour. We got hooed. All right. The 5P in the 5P inner circle, we had the templates and the full process for people to go through. So if they go to 5paragraph.com, you can see what we're talking about as far as being able to complete that full process. Because I'll tell you, one of the biggest things in going around and talking to fellow business leaders about, maybe you could apply this also. You make a hasty, we call it a FRACO, right? Fragmentary order. But either way, it's just a very, very short 1 page. That's it. It might be for the day or it might be for the shift, right? And again, it's just 1 page. You're jotting down your ideas into it. But then afterwards, after that action, immediately do a debrief. So that way you can put those things together. When the action is completed, you need to follow it up with some sort of a debrief.
True.
And a lot of people don't do it. A lot of people just don't. I actually treat my calendar like a debrief. So I put down in there what I actually did. So I have my digital calendar, let's say, and that's what's coming up. And then I have what I actually did. So I guess you could say that my calendar is more akin to a journal.
Yeah.
So.
And that's perfectly fine. But, even if you do have a good plan, things are always constantly changing. And using a 5-paragraph format allows you to adjust to change, is because that's what you need to do. It's like, oh, my plan didn't work. It failed. It's like, no, find out what worked and adjust what didn't work. And that's pretty much, it's a business plan or, in a 5-paragraph format, it's an evolving plan, but it gives you the tools you need to adjust when things aren't going, as perfectly as the paper said it would.
Right. Oh my goodness. You always remind me of like no plan survives first contact, right? You step outside the wire and a bullet whizzes past your head. You're like, all right, totally forgot what was on that plan. But don't worry, because I got all this other stuff on me.
Right.
I think that's the other side of a whole lot of things. Not to sound too meta in life here, but there are a whole lot of people who are wrapped up in their melon, full of anxiety, and they didn't spend very much time training with any of the gear that they've got. You know, so it's like people will ask me these what if questions about being in Iraq or Afghanistan. What if this? What if that? And it's like, I spent way more time worrying about the tools of my trade and how to apply them than I ever did worrying about a what if scenario.
Right. No, and it's true. And it's, again, if you are, what do they call it? Like muscle memory. You know, your brain is a muscle as well. And if you continue to, you know, this tool is for that, this tool is for that, you know, but again, if you're not using them, it ain't just, you know, knowing about them. If you're not using the tools that you have, like, oh, you get shot, you're not wearing your bulletproof vest. Right. Oh, that's what that was for. Or flak vest, that's what that was for. You know, it's too late at that point to, you know, think about it.
Right, exactly. Well, and a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll go into it and they'll be like, ready, act, aim, kind of a deal. You know, it's like they're, you know what I mean? It's like they're, and I get that to an extent when you just have to act in the moment because craziness is going on. I'll do it, yeah, all right, time and a place. But there are a whole lot of folks where it's like, if I build it, they will come. And it's like, meh. There's a whole lot of other what ifs that you aren't thinking of, but that's because you don't have all of the other tools that are necessary to do it. You know, and that there is that balance associated with it.